You have finally made it through the chaotic, soul-crushing gauntlet of airport security. Your shoes are back on, your laptop is shoved haphazardly into your bag, and your stress levels are soaring. You look up at the glowing departure board and realize you have a grueling 2-hour wait before your flight begins boarding. The inevitable reality sets in. You are hungry, perhaps even bordering on starved. But you are no longer in the real world. You have entered a captive market, a dystopian consumer environment where the normal rules of supply, demand, and quality completely cease to exist. Airports are highly controlled ecosystems designed to extract maximum capital from exhausted, vulnerable, and cornered travelers. You cannot leave. You cannot seek out better options. You are trapped within the terminal walls, and the massive corporate food conglomerates know this all too well. They prey on your desperation. They offer you the illusion of convenience and comfort, wrapping subpar, highly processed, and often dangerous food in familiar branding. You see the glowing logos of restaurants you recognize from your hometown, and your exhausted brain seeks the safety of familiarity. But this is a trap. The airport iterations of these famous chains are dark, mutated versions of their original selves. They operate with severely compromised supply chains, extreme logistical constraints, and a complete lack of accountability because they know you are getting on a plane and will never be able to complain or return your meal. Today, we are going to expose the dark underbelly of terminal dining. We are going to tear down the deceptive marketing and reveal the absolute 8 worst airport restaurants that you must avoid at all costs if you value your health, your wallet, and your sanity. We will dissect the horrifying realities of what happens behind their counters. And then, because you still need to eat, we will reveal the 4 highly guarded safe choices that manage to maintain their integrity, quality, and freshness despite the overwhelming odds of the airport environment. We begin our descent into terminal madness with a brand that has practically become synonymous with tragic, regrettable airport dining. Sbarro. The visual alone is enough to induce a feeling of profound sadness. Massive, oversized slices of pizza sitting under the punishing glare of industrial heat lamps, hour after agonizing hour. What was once a fresh dough product rapidly degrades into a stiff, impenetrable triangle of despair. The cheese, deprived of moisture, congeals into a thick, plastic-like sheet that peels off in one horrifying, unappetizing layer. The pepperoni pools with heavy, rancid grease that eventually soaks through the cardboard crust, creating a structural failure before it even reaches your mouth. The employees behind the counter always look like hostages to their own failing franchise, apathetically scooping dried, crusted baked ziti into plastic containers. Sbarro relies entirely on the visual trigger of cheese and bread to snare passengers who are too tired to think critically. But consuming this heavy, oxidized, and drastically overpriced pizza guarantees a feeling of intense lethargy and severe dehydration once you are airborne. It sits in your stomach like a concrete block, expanding as the cabin pressure changes, ensuring that your journey will be an uncomfortable, bloated nightmare. Next on our list of atrocious offenders is a place that aggressively weaponizes the concept of health to sell you highly compromised ingredients. Subway. The motto is to eat fresh, but there is absolutely nothing fresh about the logistical reality of an airport Subway location. Their bread, highly processed and chemically stabilized to withstand extensive supply chain delays, smells intensely artificial and often tastes like the very wrapper it is served in. Because of the high volume and rapid turnover required in a terminal, the cold cuts and cheeses are left exposed to the ambient air for terrifyingly long stretches of time. Look closely at the meat sitting in those plastic bins. The turkey takes on a terrifying iridescent shine, while the roast beef oxidizes into a dark, unappealing gray. The vegetables, which should be crisp and vibrant, are wilted, bruised and swimming in their own murky, cross-contaminated juices. Furthermore, the sheer audacity of charging premium, restaurant-level prices for a sandwich assembled by a completely disengaged worker from ingredients that have been sweating in a stainless steel trough is insulting. Eating an airport subway sandwich is a massive gamble with foodborne illness, as the continuous opening and closing of the sneeze guard introduces endless bacterial contamination from the thousands of passengers breathing, coughing, and pointing at the ingredients. Do not allow your nose to lead you into our third trap, Auntie Anne's pretzels. This kiosk acts like a siren, aggressively pumping the weaponized, intoxicating scent of baking bread and melting butter directly into the terminal concourse. It is a calculated predatory tactic designed to bypass your rational thought and target your primal cravings for carbohydrates and fat. But what you actually receive is a catastrophic nutritional disaster. These pretzels are incredibly dense, heavy bricks of refined dough that offer zero nutritional value. They are aggressively bathed in liquid butter substitute and heavily coated in coarse industrial salt. Consuming an Auntie Anne's pretzel before a flight is essentially administering a massive, concentrated dose of sodium and simple sugars into your bloodstream. Your insulin spikes violently, only to crash halfway through your flight, leaving you exhausted, irritable, and craving more junk. The extreme sodium content forces your body to retain water, exacerbating the already uncomfortable swelling and dehydration that naturally occurs in a pressurized aircraft cabin. You're paying top dollar to actively sabotage your own physiological well-being for a brief, fleeting moment of synthetic flavor. We move on to a titan of fast food that completely loses its identity within the confines of an airport. Burger King. If you have ever approached an airport Burger King, you have undoubtedly witnessed the chaos and the profound lack of care. The promise of a flame-grilled burger is instantly shattered the moment you unwrap the foil. What you find is a sad, crushed, lukewarm patty that looks like it has been stepped on. The meat is notoriously dry, having been cooked hours prior and kept in a holding cabinet, slowly losing every ounce of moisture until it resembles a hockey puck. The buns are invariably stale on the edges and soggy in the center from the sheer volume of low-quality mayonnaise slapped onto the lettuce. The fries, supposedly their redeeming quality, are almost always served cold, limp, and unsalted, sitting in the fry station accumulating an unappealing chewiness. The service is universally abysmal, heavily reliant on skeleton crews who are overwhelmed by the relentless waves of travelers. You will wait 20 minutes in a disorganized line, pay an astronomical markup, and receive a meal that is barely fit for human consumption, representing the absolute rock bottom of the fast food industry's standards. Equally terrifying, but targeting a different craving, is our fifth offender, Cinnabon. Much like Auntie Anne's, they use extreme olfactory marketing, ensuring you smell their product long before you see their counter. But a Cinnabon classic roll is not food. It is a weaponized caloric bomb. We are talking about nearly 1,000 calories and over 70 grams of pure, refined sugar packed into a single pastry. The dough is saturated in fat, and the signature frosting is a highly processed chemical emulsion of margarine and sugar. Eating a Cinnabon right before boarding a flight is an act of pure self-destruction. The sheer volume of fat and sugar causes an immediate severe strain on your digestive system. As you sit completely motionless in a cramped airplane seat for hours, your body desperately tries to process this heavy, sticky mass. It leads to intense acid reflux, severe bloating, and a profound sense of sluggishness that ruins the first day of your vacation or derails your focus for a business trip. They are selling you a biological anchor disguised as a sweet treat and charging you a premium to ruin your digestion. Our sixth trap shifts from the quick-serve counters to the illusion of the sit-down dining experience. Chili's too, or simply the airport versions of Chili's. They lure you in with the promise of a real meal, a comfortable booth, and perhaps a cold drink. It feels like an escape from the chaotic terminal. But the reality is that the kitchen behind those swinging doors is completely unequipped to cook raw ingredients from scratch. The vast majority of the menu at an airport Chili's consists of highly processed, prepackaged, frozen meals that are simply dropped into industrial fryers or aggressively microwaved. The fajitas that arrive sizzling are an illusion, heated on a specialized plate to simulate freshness. The chicken is rubbery and injected with saline to maintain artificial plumpness. The pasta dishes are watery and bland, masked by heavy sodium-rich sauces from a plastic bag. You're essentially paying fine dining prices, complete with an expectation of a tip, for a meal that is nutritionally and texturally identical to a cheap TV dinner you could buy in a grocery store frozen aisle. It is a theatrical performance of a restaurant, hiding a kitchen that operates more like an assembly line for microwaved slop. If you thought the faux Mexican or American bar food was bad, wait until you examine our seventh nightmare. Panda Express. Chinese fast food relies entirely on high heat, rapid cooking, and immediate consumption. When you remove those elements and place the food in a stagnant airport holding tray, the results are catastrophic. The vibrant orange chicken you see behind the glass has likely been sitting there since the morning rush. The sugary sauce thickens into a sticky, unyielding glue, while the chicken inside becomes tough, stringy, and impossible to chew. The fried rice sits under the heat lamps until it dehydrates completely, turning into hard, unpleasant pebbles. The chow mein noodles become a soggy, congealed mass of grease and starch. Because these steam tables are continuously kept at questionable holding temperatures, the risk of rapid bacterial growth is immense. You are looking at a buffet of oxidized, degraded ingredients that have completely lost their structural integrity and flavor profile. Yet you are still forced to pay a massive premium for the privilege of a potential stomachache. Our final offender on the worst list is a brand that people flock to out of pure chemical addiction and blind brand loyalty. Starbucks. You might think grabbing a coffee and a pastry is harmless, but the airport Starbucks is a masterclass in inefficiency and gouging. The lines are notoriously agonizing, often snaking into the terminal walkways, forcing you to burn precious time. Because of the relentless rush, the baristas are rushed, frequently burning the milk and serving espresso shots that are bitter and improperly extracted. But the true crime is the food. The pastries and sandwiches are shipped in completely frozen. They are rapidly thawed or tossed into high-speed ovens, where they emerge with the texture of a hot sponge. The breakfast sandwiches feature rubbery eggs, sad, thin slices of processed meat, and cheese that refuses to melt properly. The prices are absolutely staggering, with a simple coffee and a frozen thawed sandwich costing the equivalent of a proper sit-down breakfast anywhere else. You are paying for the green siren logo, not for quality, freshness, or a pleasant experience. But you are not entirely hopeless. The airport environment is brutal, but there are 4 bastions of quality, 4 fiercely guarded safe havens that refuse to compromise their standards, regardless of their location. If you see these logos, you can breathe a sigh of relief. The first safe choice is the unparalleled Shake Shack. Unlike their competitors who rely on heat lamps and microwaves, Shake Shack maintains their rigorous made-to-order philosophy even in the busiest airports. When you order a burger, the meat is smashed and cooked fresh on the griddle right in front of you. The buns are always pillowy soft, and the ingredients are remarkably fresh. Because their quality is so high, their turnover is massive, meaning food never sits around dying. It is one of the only airport restaurants where the food tastes completely identical to a high-end street location. You are getting real, uncompromised food, cooked properly, providing a genuinely satisfying and safe meal before your flight. Our second safe haven is the absolute king of operational efficiency: Chick-fil-A, an airport. Chick-fil-A is a marvel of logistical perfection. You might see a line of 50 people, but you will have your hot, fresh food in less than 10 minutes. Their chicken is always real whole muscle meat, perfectly breaded and fried continuously, so it is always piping hot. They do not cut corners. The waffle fries are crispy. The service is inexplicably polite for an airport, and the strict corporate standards ensure that a sandwich in the Atlanta airport tastes exactly as perfect as one in Dallas. They respect the customer's time and money, delivering an incredibly consistent, high-quality protein source that won't leave you feeling sick. Third on our safe list is the master of transparency: Chipotle. When you walk up to an airport Chipotle, the glass reveals exactly what you are getting. There are no mysterious sauces or hidden microwave stations. You see the fresh guacamole, the crisp lettuce, the freshly grilled steak, and the vibrant salsas. You have total control over your macros and your ingredients. You can build a heavy, calorie-dense burrito if you are starving, or a light, protein-packed bowl if you want to avoid feeling sluggish on the plane. The ingredients are consistently fresh because the assembly line format ensures a massive, rapid turnover of food. It is clean, visible, and completely customizable, making it a powerful weapon against the bloated, highly processed alternatives. Finally, our fourth safe choice is the ultimate solution for the traveler in a massive rush: Pret-A Manger. While other grab-and-go kiosks sell sandwiches that have a shelf life of 3 weeks, Pret builds its entire business model on daily freshness. Their sandwiches, salads, and wraps are made from scratch in the shop's kitchen every single day. They use real high-quality ingredients, clean proteins, and completely avoid the obscure chemical preservatives found in typical airport kiosk food. The labels are clear, the bread is soft, and the produce is crisp. And most importantly, when the day ends, they donate the unsold food rather than trying to serve you a day-old sandwich tomorrow morning. It is fast, highly ethical, and phenomenally fresh. The airport terminal is a hostile environment designed to drain your wallet and feed you garbage. The corporate giants rely on your exhaustion, your hunger, and your lack of options. They serve you frozen, microwaved, and heavily processed food, charging you a premium for the absolute bare minimum of effort. But you no longer have to be a victim. You now possess the knowledge to navigate this culinary minefield. Avoid the heat lamps, reject the microwaved sit-down traps, and turn away from the artificial smells of the sugar bombs. Seek out the